Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the This Is Me podcast. I'm Karen.
And I'm Ellie, and today we have Heather joining us. Heather is a scientist by training who has learned that a successful career path doesn't need to be linear. In fact, the more squiggly it is, the better. She talks about how stepping out of your comfort zone and dialing up your curiosity will take you to places you didn't think was possible. So, Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. And to get started, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today?
Oh, thank you for that warm introduction, and how lovely to share this space with both of you lovely ladies. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Dearly for the invitation. Indeed, I am a scientist by training. Even as a child, I was just that curious, insanely, nose in a book and, exploring the outside world and asking 1,000 questions. And that continues today. So I started my career many, many years ago, developing vaccines in drug development and discovery, and loved solving those problems and working, alongside brilliant scientists who inspired me. And I did that for a period of time. And when you're working in R&D, you reach a ceiling fairly quickly, where the work is the work, and it's quite routine. And I was looking for something different, but I didn't really know what that was. Mm-hmm. And I had a wonderful manager who recognized I had this ability to simplify the complex. I understood the science, but I had this ability to influence, to tell a story. And at the time, the type of vaccines we were developing were the mRNA of its time. And the regulatory team was having trouble getting approvals from Health Canada. I should say I'm Canadian by birth. And so I fell into the career of regulatory affairs, where it was taking the science and working with the authorities to get those approvals, to get these medicines into the hands of patients. From there, my career has been a series of different sectors and different companies and regulatory. And what I love about that is you work with all the different components of the company, the scientists, the marketing, the sales team, so on and so forth. And it just led me in places that I didn't expect, countries I didn't expect. Which we can explore, of course. And I do love this concept of a squiggly career. I started off very linear, typical scientist. You do this, you do this, you do this, and there's one path. And I learned actually later than I wish I had in my career, that being open to the possibilities of taking a zag will take you to a different place. And it's Helen Tupper's book, Squiggly Careers, that really inspired me to. She gave me the language and the words. And so that's something that I'm really proud of, these new opportunities that came my way.
Yeah, definitely.
So where are you now then, Heather? You back in Canada?
Yeah, so I'm here in my office, just outside of Toronto, not too far from the Toronto airport. And in July of this year, I started a new role for a consulting company, so quality and compliance services. What I love about this organization is it was founded by a woman 31 years ago. She's also a scientist, and she literally started this at her kitchen table. And she's now built it into Canada's largest independently owned consultancy firm for quality and regulatory. We work with all sorts of clients, but mostly pharmaceutical. And so I feel like this squiggly career has led me again to this path, and I feel really privileged to be leading this organization. We have about 60 consultants, and I was fortunate to join as president in July.
That's
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that somebody can sit at, 30 years ago, can sit at a kitchen table? Like, we've all had dreams, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet here it is today, really established, really successful, and it just grew from a tiny little seed.
She saw a need that was unfulfilled, and she's an engineer by training, but really a true entrepreneur. So I feel so privileged to work side by side with her. She's still very much here in the business, but she's the visionary and coming up with the new direction, and I'm here as the implementer, the executor, to deliver on that. So it's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you how do I word this sort of, I don't know what it is that I'm trying to ask. When you first were introduced to the idea of this, like it doesn't have to look how you think it has to look, because I think there's sort of a 50-50 split. There is the people that go, okay, I'm in this job and this is how it looks, and that's how it then works.
Yes.
I also think for a lot of people, the squiggly career, it is what happens, and it sort of happens without you realising. And thank God I said that, because I finally found the question that I was trying to ask you. Was that a choice that you made to divert from this like linear progression, or was that something that sort of happened to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know exactly what you mean. I would say initially, no, I wasn't. I was raised in a way was more linear, work hard, do this, take that sort of path. And I've been influenced by many wonderful people in my life. And I would say the squiggly part started to happen midway through my career, where I had some incredible mentors and managers who saw something in me and pushed me out of that comfort zone. I was playing it pretty safe. If I think back to, I was working again in regulatory in Canada, be about 2015 or so. I loved my job. I loved what I was doing. I was leading a great little team, part of a country management team. Had lots of great, but I was playing. When I look back now, I was cruising along. Yes, there were little things that happened, little challenges, but generally, I was on autopilot. And I'm not saying that's a criticism, but I would say I was capable of so much more. I just didn't know it. And I'm really grateful to mentors and leaders that I reported to and worked with who really saw this in me, this, I guess I could call it unrealized potential. And they also took a chance on me, and they offered me this position that was such an inflection point in my career. So I was in Canada leading a team of 3 professionals. And the job I was offered to be the global head of function, move to Amsterdam, be head of function for an international company, responsible for 70 plus countries and building a team of nearly 200 in one move. Okay, not for the faint of heart.
For it.
I did, but I have to say my initial result was in that, are you crazy?
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you have a moment of, what am I doing?
I had a moment well, first I thought these very intelligent people that I really respected had lost their collective minds to even consider it, because that wasn't the linear path. You do not go from being the country head of Canada to being the global head of function in one move. And I would say, that just blew my mind. But then I started to dream, imagine, and I really needed to trust them because they believed I could do it. I didn't believe I could do it. I'm also super grateful to my husband, who, this wasn't an easy conversation for us. He has his own business here in Canada. I literally remember the day I came home from work, and, he knew that there were changes with the company. It was going through a lot of restructuring. And I said, I've been offered a new job. Oh, great. What is it? I said, what it was. He's like, where? Amsterdam. Okay. But he said to me, after much reflection, he said, if you don't go and try this job for a year, because it's going to be hard, you're going to have regret. And he said, I'm forever grateful and for him to really push me again out of that comfort zone. Give it a go. If you don't try it, you're going to have regret. And what a terrible way to. So that was such a huge inflection point for me. And, those first few months, some of the hardest I've ever had for many, many reasons. I went on my own. It was the first time living and working outside of Canada. I was away from I was way out of my comfort zone. But when I look back on coming out the other side of that, the amount of growth, personal growth and personal satisfaction is unmeasured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
When
a
you-
couple of questions.
Go on.
Sorry,
Go on.
so I don't forget.
No, go
the
on.
one was about, you've said it twice now, and I think it's a really interesting thing to explore about. People talk about mentorship all the time, but mentorship and like people trusting you and believing in you and sort of giving you the
Sponsorship.
opportunity, really interests me. So what do you think it is that they saw in you as a character or whatever that they thought, yeah, Heather will give this a go? Do you know? Because self-awareness is really important as you go through your squiggly careers, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Such a good question. And those three leaders, you know, two of them were regulatory leaders and one was a commercial leader. I'm forever indebted to the three of them. What they saw in me, because they've told me,
Yeah.
is again, it's this insatiable curiosity, this thirst for, you know, this restlessness, but a restlessness in for myself, you know, what can I learn? What can I do better? What can I improve? I'm the type of person that if you tell me 8 positive things and 1 constructive, human nature, my focus goes to that 1 constructive. And then also I go back to this concept of unrealized potential, this playing it safe, this, you know, being highly effective and enjoying what I do, but they all saw in me, there's something more there. They also know that there was no way I was going to let the three of them down. If they were going to put their necks out there, and that's true sponsorship, way beyond mentorship, where they, you know, they were taking
way beyond. Sorry,
yeah,
it is way beyond mentorship.
It's way beyond. They had skin in the game also. There was no way I was going to let the three of them down, but rather that fuel, especially on the tough days, it's like, no, they believed in me. Maybe, you know, thinking back now, it's they believed in me, and sometimes the worst critic is the one that's between my ears. And so quieting that little, that gremlin who likes to say, you can't do this, you know, that inner critic. So having them in my ear, whether it was actual or conversations we had in the past, did help quiet that inner critic.
Because I was going to ask, and I don't know whether it's like me, like sort of projecting onto you, but I guess like you're number one in a very difficult industry where you do have to play it safe. That's literally what you have to do. You're a woman, and you're in STEM, which can't be like, you know, we're only just opening the doors, not only just opening the doors of possibility there, but it's not been the easiest of industries for women.
True.
And then you add whatever our minds are doing on top of it. So I can I don't know whether that is me sort of projecting onto you, but I can sort of see how actually that inner critic would be quite loud, and you've probably had to build it up over the years to just go, okay, no, like, is that how it felt?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're spot on, Ellie.
Thank you.
A scientist. So a scientist, where as a scientist you're trained to look for reasons why you may be wrong instead of proving that you're right. Adam Grant said that brilliantly in Think Again. But that's true. So that just automatically gives you a sense of humility. I often say I like to describe myself as confidently humble. But when you're in a business setting, that isn't always the type of leader that gets the spotlight, that gets the attention. So a woman, a scientist, way out of her comfort zone, with the inner critic. I mean, all these things were percolating. Absolutely. They still do. I've just developed skills and strategies that make it easier for me to be myself. and be comfortable with that. I had this revelation. Again, I'm going back to this inflection point of that first year in this global leadership role. Because when I arrived, first of all, I was the only woman in the room many times. I was surrounded by a different type of leader, not one like me. Not in style, not in looks, not in background. I was the only scientist at the table. I was the only woman at the table. I was the only Canadian at the table. It was a lot of onlys.
Yeah.
Onlys, yeah. The only years, not the lonely years.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, that's quite good. Well done.
That's very good.
Very little.
Trademark that one.
Thank you very much.
Trademark that one. Credit to Karen. And I started to behave in a way that didn't feel like me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I started to adapt to the surround, and again, I'm there to prove myself and I don't want to let anyone down. And I didn't have people who had already worked with me that already knew. So I was building credibility and trust, all the things, while quickly getting up to speed from, instead of being responsible for one country, I was now responsible for 70. So it was good that I was there by myself because I just lost myself in the work.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting though, Heather, how quickly, and sometimes you don't even realise it, how quickly the chameleon within you adapts to the behaviours and the culture. And it's almost like it creeps up on you like stealth.
It does, but it's exhausting because it's like wearing a jacket that doesn't fit.
Yeah. No, I had one of the companies I worked for, I had the same thing happen, and it was exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It's like anger. It made me angry, which I'm not an angry person, but I was an angry person because of what it was doing. I was like,
it was not sustainable. And if I had kept going in that way, I wouldn't have been successful. Thankfully, I was able to, through some external coaching, through my own recognition, through realizing this is about leading through others, all the things started to come together. And I felt confident enough. I'm going to lead as I am. I'm here for a reason. These 3 incredible leaders put me here because of who I am, not who they think I'm going to turn into. So that was a big...
Did you have to just have like a bit of blind faith in yourself in that? Because because similar to what Karen was saying, when you're talking, like these 3 people, they've put their trust in me, and it was it a case of just, I'm not even going to allow myself to think about it, and I'm just going to have to blindly jump into this? Or was there a bit of you that was like, no, I can do this, I am capable?
It was more the latter, to be honest. But I would say there were a couple of other things that helped me get to that realization instead of the blind faith. Again, it was building that network in my new environment as quickly as, it was a big time of change. There was a lot of new individuals in big roles. And so we sort of bonded together and found common ground and supported each other. Yeah. Find your tribe. Yeah. And build your brand in that way. And it was also, I'm very, very grateful. There was an external coach that the company was working with, and she made such an impression on me. We were doing a storytelling workshop and effective presenting skills. And she gave us an assignment, and it was intended to be, putting on a little pressure. So we had 3 minutes to prepare a 3-minute presentation about a difficult time in our life and just deliver it. And then we were videoed. And so I spoke about quite a difficult work scenario that I had in the past in my career. And I delivered it as me. And she said to me, I might get emotional about it. She said to me, "Do you know how incredible you are?" And I said, "No." What do you mean? She's like, "I don't know what just happened, but basically it was authentic Heather showing up."
Yeah.
And the coat, the ill-fitting coat was off and all of the things. And that was a light bulb moment for me. That when I am who I am, I'm a better version of myself. That changed everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that is. I mean, you might
I'm
get emotional. I
I'm
might get
getting goosebumps
emotional.
just thinking about that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
I think it like you'll be the same, Heather. Heather and I know each other because of Heather's so supportive of coaching, and what I really love about your leadership is you really look after the people who you work with, and I really love that. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I think is we get asked all the time, don't we, Ellie? Is like, how do I do that? How can I do what Heather did? And I think sometimes what you've got to like help people understand is sometimes you can't actually create it. It's just you've got to make the most of that moment.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's moments that happen, not necessarily finding the
Yeah,
elusive.
big
How do
life
I become?
plan.
Yeah. Or how
Yes.
do I become more confident? Or what?
Mm-hmm.
If authentic leadership, there's the theory of it. I love it. The practicality of it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I've been struck listening to you is about, and I think curiosity is at the heart of it, is about that open mind that asks the questions. Because actually, in that moment when that coach said to you, "You're incredible," you could have just went, "Thank you," and like
Yeah.
gone off.
Yeah.
But you probably, I would imagine you worked through that, thought about it, and did something with it. And I guess that's a really important thing for people listening, which is that how do you develop that curiosity? How do you develop that in the moment ability to
Yeah.
pivot, to change or whatever?
Yeah.
It's rather than you going on 100 different leadership courses and which I know you will, but
It's true.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
To me, I think
sorry, that was
and
a bit
it's,
waffly, but it was really interesting.
no,
Sorry.
it's not waffly at all. It's in that moment or whatever it is. Yes, it's the curiosity, but for me, it's also let it happen.
Yeah.
We put up these internal barriers. I know I do. You know, you receive a beautiful compliment, and my before I even think about it, might be to dismiss it. It's like, let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let it happen
Let
to
it
you.
wash
Yeah.
over you. Let it, and I'll say, the impact that coach had on me, and we ended up working together with the team I was privileged to be a part of. She inspired me to pursue my own coaching certification because
Yeah.
I felt so strongly about the impact she had on me that I wanted to at least try and do that for others. Of course, as you both know, you end up learning so much more about yourself in that process, which is such a gift.
Yeah.
No, I
And
do. I think
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it
Sorry,
is.
go on, Elle.
It's like what I just think it what like the impact a moment can have is crazy, isn't it? And actually, it's a good point, Karen, because I think like even I with this podcast sometimes I'm like, people want to know the how and people want to know and maybe it is to drop that and just it is these little moments that instill the confidence where you realize as yourself like, oh, hang on, no, I can't, like I can do this, and it's not this here's how you go from this job to
Here's
this
the
job to
formula,
this
here's
job.
the book, here's
Yeah. And there's not a formula, and I think that like
I think
because everyone is after a formula, but I suppose if there was one, we wouldn't be after it, would we?
well, you look at how many, I wouldn't like to even guess, I don't know what you think, Heather, how many leadership books there are. How many project management books are there, and every single project nearly fails? So I think that there's a need in your life to have education and learning.
Yeah.
But vulnerability isn't always about getting it from a textbook. And I think it's a really important, I think it's really hit to me about how, and I think this is what you're saying, Heather. So I'm doing like Ellie, please don't say if I've paraphrased you wrong. We can all have those moments every single day, but if we're not ready for them or we don't do anything with them, it's just a moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I hear from what you're saying, that there's something in you, an innateness, which is what's going on here. Probably the scientist, actually.
It could be. It's that
going on
power. I
there?
think there's something in observing, whether it's observing in yourself, observing in others. It's that pause. It's that instead of whatever it was you've just taken in, and then you're moving on to the next. It's that pause, that observation. And for me, it's often, getting out of my own way or letting it happen, or whatever that is, or the classic, going back to my curious nature. If someone disagrees with me on something, instead of getting defensive or irritated, I lean into it. I pause. I'm like, that's really interesting. Tell me more. Tell me more. So getting curious instead of furious, I like to say.
Yeah, that's good. I'm in a right moment of onlys and lonelies and moments and
Go on.
Great analogies. Yeah.
Just
I like curious, not furious.
curious, not furious. Yeah. So, you know, this beautiful team that I was part of, and you know many of that wonderful group, Karen.
Yeah, they were amazing. Yeah.
Curiosity became our mode of operation. Leaning into curiosity instead of a victim mindset or an aggressive mindset or all of that. We had 15 high-performing, big personalities in their own ways, lots of different lived experiences. I mean, when we started, what a cast of characters. At the end of our time together, the connections, the threads that still continue now, even though we don't work together. And it's all going back to curiosity. Yeah. It really is.
I do also think one of the things that is coming out here, though, I think it's also about trust, because you can say you're curious, but if people don't trust you to also lean into it.
Yes.
So I think it's also what you do very well is create that psychologically even safe space.
Yeah. Because I mean, trust is the foundation, because then you can't, because then if you don't have that as the foundation, when you're asking questions, it can be perceived as challenging, distrust.
It moves it from curiosity to some sort of criticalness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about, so you've always, since you're I'm going to say a senior woman, that sounds terrible, but I mean senior. You're senior, you're a credible senior leader. Mm-hmm. Throughout your career, have you wanted to be defined as a woman in that, back to Ellie's point, a woman in a male world, or has that been like secondary to being a credible leader? How much about being a woman in this world is part of what you want to stand for?
It's shaped me in a very big way. Again, going back to that different style of leadership, it isn't one single facet. There's multifacets, but one of them is the fact that I'm a woman.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it is, and I'm proud of that. You know, do I want to be known as a female leader? I don't get caught up on it. I'm a leader who happens to be a woman.
That's why I ask, because I think I perceive that from you, that being called a female leader isn't the thing that's the most important.
It's not. Being
recognised for being a woman with the strengths that brings is.
Yeah. Exactly. However, I do believe some of my innate characteristics, because I'm a woman, empathy, genuine, relationship really matters to me. It really does. Mm-hmm. And, a different style. So going back to that, when I felt like I needed to adapt to a style that I wasn't seeing myself reflected in that moment, well, it didn't feel very good because it's not who I was. And it took a ton of energy. Yeah. And I actually wasn't as impactful as I could be. I'm also very privileged, even though I work in the scientific field, in STEM. I have had the privilege of being led by incredible women who also have a gravitas, a presence that I could emulate. So I was fortunate to have people to, see myself represented at the very highest levels of a company. And so part of me, part of my values is I want to try and be a little bit of that to others. So I don't shy away from it.
It's amazing, because you can be as well. You've worked and you've put yourself in the position, and now you can do that because of how you've been, because of the backing of all those amazing people. You get to do the same thing back, which is amazing.
Yeah. It's really important to me.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting because with the work we do and the work you'll know, we see a lot of feminism is really interesting, isn't it? And what feminism looks like in today's world of work. And a lot of that, sometimes there is that I'm a female leader. Like the declaration is I'm a female leader.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that it brings with it challenges. Yeah. Because it focuses people on the female bit. not the leadership bit. So it's like you see it when we're coaching, like like women who are being promoted and new into roles,
Yes.
about wanting. I'm not. Bear with me because this might sound a bit weird, but wanting
Yep.
to declare I'm a female leader, but sometimes that's not the right way of showing that you are a female leader. Does that make sense? It's
Yeah.
an interesting
It does.
story we're in at the moment in the world of work.
And for me, the ambition is, how can we have better leaders overall, regardless of
Gender.
your gender identification? Because I know a number of brilliant male leaders that I know have qualities that I've learned from, they've learned from me, so I think also for men, a different style of male leadership is really refreshing to them, that they don't have to be the whatever.
Yeah. The macho man. Yeah.
Because that isn't who they are as a human.
Yeah.
Right? So I think in general, for us as women in leadership positions, this is our moment to bring this, but I also think it benefits others to say diversity in leadership in general leads to better outcomes.
Yeah.
And that's diversity of thought, behavior, like experience,
that's
isn't it?
Yeah.
What when you look back on your sort of career, now you're in this sort of amazing role,
Yes.
what are some of the things that you've learned that you want to bring to this new role, that because it's almost like it's your, what's the word, you've got permission to do it now, haven't you? So yeah.
It's it's this collection of experiences that I think have me really nicely positioned to all the things I've collected and learned along the way, to things I wish I had learned sooner. Now I sound like this old woman on a rocking chair. And for example, I was raised again with this humility. So work hard, keep your head down, don't boast about your accomplishments. It will be noticed. No disrespect to my parents. They were well intended, but that was terrible advice.
Yeah.
I have to say, and I think I've told this to Ellie, that I 100% agree. One of the biggest and most awful experience I had was when I was a HR director and I didn't do that, and it resulted in cuts being made in my team, and it was 100% my fault because of exactly that. Because I thought we were brought up by the same parents, probably, who said, it will be noticed. What a load of baloney.
It's so true. And so, again, find a way that's comfortable to you to make sure your accomplishments and strengths are widely known, and your ambitions widely known. You are the pilot of your career. So, coming into this consulting firm, we have the advantage of, very seasoned, experienced professionals and a lot of people starting their career. And so, I really want to bring that wisdom, and I hope it will be helpful to them. I think the other piece for me as a scientist, yes, but also as a business leader, is think about everything in the lens of a business context. It shapes the way you communicate. It shapes the way, again, these things that I wish I had learned sooner and more effectively. I think the other piece is, I don't like the term work-life balance. I like the term work-life integration.
I hate work-life balance. It's like, whatever.
Because there's times where one takes more, and it's okay, as long as in the end they're gelling and you're getting what you need out of both. That's okay. So, again, in this organization where I am now, we have flexibility, working from home, coming into the office, getting that real balance. I like that hybrid approach. I miss being with people, so I'll come into the office and have lunch with the team or whatever that looks like. But then I also love the flexibility to be at home with my young dog, to get out for a hike on a beautiful day like we've got here today, and it's done. So I really love that one good outcome out of the pandemic is that we recognized we can do better in terms of that flexibility. Yeah, I think that's really important.
Can I ask you a question that's not really in any way related, but I'm just really curious about it. Like when you I suppose not really, not really being a kid and nose in a book and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you first went into that job and you were doing the vaccines, and as you say, you hit that sort of ceiling.
Yeah.
And then you discover like the regulatory and like side of things. What was it about that made you pivot in that direction? And I guess what made you stay there? Because I think that's really, it's just, I just wanted to know, really. I'm just being nosy.
No, good question. I would say at that time I was still in a playing it safe mode. And there were two factors. So I knew I wasn't being challenged enough in the current role. I was bored, frankly, because it does get quite routine after a while. But I didn't have enough knowledge to know, well, what am I going to do with it? And I had the trust of someone, a manager that I really respected, who saw someone saw something that I couldn't see in myself and suggested, I think this would be good for you, and that willingness to try. And maybe that goes back to that scientific, someone I trust is suggesting this.
I should keep thinking about whether Heather's had a hypothesis all of her working career.
Maybe
it's so interesting.
Yeah,
maybe it's a scientist, but like it's also that curiosity that we.
It is like give it a go and see what happens. And why I stayed, and why I stayed is it is the perfect mix for someone like me, because the science and the all of that is at the core, but then it brings in this collaboration with the marketeers, with the sales, so there's a lot of regulatory really is the glue in any organization. And I've moved around different sectors. So it's pharmaceuticals, it's cosmetics, it's medical devices, it's consumer products. So it's still all regulatory, but different challenges, different opportunities. Then the other aspect of this, which I really enjoyed, is shaping regulation, going right back to, so, I'm quite good at infusing new ways of bringing that into my work. Yes. So I feel quite fortunate. And then also, the fact to have international experience, like, to travel.
I was going to ask you. Do you think have you got one last move in you or not?
I think where I am right now is the culmination of, this is where I'm living. It really is. So I think my advantage here is I am a regulator at heart. I've worked as a consultant, so I understand that piece. But when I'm working with our customers, it's not that long ago I was on the corporate side. So I have that corporate language, that business challenges and realities. Plus I'm back home, which is, this is where I need to be. I need to be with the trees and the lakes and close to my family. But I'm not done by any stretch. No, there's still lots more to go.
I was going to ask you, because I think that you hear this, and I know you anyway, you've got like a real quest to learn. What's your next learning adventure? Have you got anything in mind that you want to do or become or?
Well, the coaching never ends. So there's just continuous learning with that. I'm really digging into technology now for the type of work I'm doing and how we can better enable our work with technology, but not go down 1,000 rabbit holes.
Yeah.
That's the real. Good luck indeed. And then, on the personal side, I've taken up golf, and that's just a game that, oh my gosh, the learning and unlearning and learning and unlearning just never
ending.
Never ending. And I'm just the kind of person that I'll come across something, oh, that's interesting, I'd like to learn more about that. So I'm training my young dog right now. We're doing some competing. So there's learning with that. There's I'm halfway through a sommelier course. I'd like to finish that. So there's just all of these random things that I managed to fill up the the to-do list.
What have you got? What's on your sort of radar about some of the challenges that might be being faced in the world of work in the next sort of 12 months? Because I think there's a lot of things that, as women particularly, but also all people in the world of work need to prepare for, because it feels like it's going to be quite a, I'm going to say, disruptive year. What's on your horizon about some of the challenges that are happening in the world of work?
Yeah. The flip side of being able to work virtually, I love the flexibility, but this always on culture worries me quite a bit. And this, immediacy, this, just we as a human race are becoming less and less patient. And the pressure that builds. So that's something I worry about. And that's why I hope we can find some relief through automating routine tasks so that people can focus on, the strategic thinking and the collaboration and those bits with a little more relief.
Actually,
yeah.
Because immediacy is exhausting. So, it's just
exhausting. It is exhausting. And having those healthy boundaries, I know for myself, I have to make sure that my workplace is in a different place than my living place. Because otherwise, I don't know if you fall into this trap, but I'll just check a couple of more things. Or if I'm walking past the laptop, I get sucked in. But if it's in a different room and I can close the door, there's something about that physical boundary that, at least for myself, gives me that guardrail. Like, no, like, you've put that aside.
My challenge with it is that everything's on your phone now. So before you could put your laptop away or anything, but now when you pick your phone up, it is your computer, isn't it? It is. It's so addictive, like in any way.
I was gonna say that as well, because I think, like, as humans, we, like, if you put us in an empty room, we'd find a task to do. So it is inherently, we are after sort of constant stimulation, something to constantly keep us going, and now we just have the ability to do that. And
you're right,
like,
at your fingertips.
it is that it's there. You can.
But then there's also I would say, and I do say, as leaders, we need to be mindful of the shadow we cast. And I'm not big on, there's no medal for being a hero for working on the weekend, sending emails. We have delayed send. Use it. If I'm choosing to work on the weekend, that's my choice, but I'm not going to be sending you an email on a Sunday afternoon. It can wait till Monday.
Yeah, because it's quite, it is a big impact, because you see it come through and you think,
right? The Sunday scaries. No one wants the Sunday scary. It's unnecessary, and unless you are legitimately saving lives, okay. But for the most of us, we aren't. And so a little bit of a reality check on this. I don't know what this culture of always on. I don't respect that, actually. I lose some respect because it tells me you haven't found that proper integration. Was it Stephen Covey's book, you need to sharpen the saw as well? You need rest. You need to be at your best.
Like, one of my friends was saying that he did it all the time, and he said he felt like, and then he stopped and he found that he had more respect in work and things were going better. And he said, also, I was prioritizing things better and I was working more efficiently because I wasn't just throwing half-assed attempts at things. So it's really interesting.
And that wisdom, for me, it comes with age, right? It's, I know when I'm at my best and I know when I'm not. And maybe when I'm not at my best, my 80% is still pretty good. But it doesn't meet my own expectations. So
I think it's an interesting thing. I know we're nearly at the end. I could talk forever, but wisdom is something that I've been really interested in for ages. Years. Leslie, my sister, and I, we looked a lot about how do you use wisdom in a respectful way, because we don't tend to do that in a Western culture.
That's true.
And wisdom's a really fascinating subject, isn't it? Because it's like, how do you teach wisdom? It's like, how do you give people that experience? And I think it's something that needs some work on. Like, we must be able to do some work on this, because it's not mentorship, it's not coaching, it's not, any of that. It's like, how do you, in this day and age where life is really turbulent and all the things that you talked about are coming out, wisdom is going to help us navigate this more.
It's true. You think of, again, wisdom can often come in the quietest voices, but they are some of the most powerful. One of my heroes just passed. That's Jane Goodall.
Oh, right. Oh, I know. Yeah, she's amazing. Isn't she?
Right? And so I just watched her Netflix.
Did you see her message to us all from...
Yes.
I thought it was... I thought, yeah, you're right. You are so...
Many tissues. But I thought...
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's brilliant. You must watch it.
It's really powerful.
It's really powerful. But so there's a woman who from a young age had the power of wisdom and just was consistent in that message. Jacinda Ardern, another one. Just that, so it's giving weight to those quieter, wise voices. And we all have that.
Badging it as something. I've got a spark of an idea here, but I think it's like without badging it as something, like without making it into something. It's a little bit about the theme of your podcast episode today, which is about the quietness, creating quietness to listen.
Power of observation and reflecting back what you observe, whether that's within yourself, within others.
And also I think Ellie talked about having that faith in yourself, like, like without being sort of influenced.
I guess it always
watching Celebrity Traitors at the minute is UK. I've not watched it before. I've never in my life been so interested in the influence of perceived hierarchy. Cast of people, and I think there's a lot of that when you're listening to advice in the real world about perception of who's giving it means they must be right.
You put more weight on is it polished? Is it I mean,
random stuff. Sorry, Heather. I was like,
no, don't be sorry.
Traitors.
It's fascinating, but no, I go back to when people ask me to describe your style of leadership, it's that confident humility, and maybe that's it. And
I've had so many insights. Bear with me. I am not ignoring a matter of piece of paper.
Go on.
Just to capture my own.
I can't wait to see what you do with that.
And a couple of times throughout, and we will wrap up in a second, I promise you. Of course. But I think it's like like you've said a couple of times throughout it, like, things I wish I'd learned earlier. And I always think, like, if you were supposed to have learned them earlier, or if they were supposed to have done then you would have. Do you know what I mean? And like, I really think that everyone learns the lessons that they're supposed to learn when they're supposed to.
Yeah. They're going to listen to them.
To learn them,
Very wise, Eleanor.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, that's brilliant, because I think there just needs to be the openness to, is this the path that I'm on? And
so interesting.
It's probably, in hindsight, to be a little kinder to myself. If I had taken the big role earlier in my career, I wouldn't have had enough wisdom or self-knowledge, all the things, the tools to help me be. So it's a good point. I like that.
Very good point, Elle.
Yeah. No, this is. I know, because I could sit and have this conversation for the rest of the day, I think, because I'm like, this is just it's been I've really enjoyed this episode, so thank you so much.
Me too.
Yeah,
good. I'm glad. So yes, let's do the last question. Otherwise, we will never stop.
All right.
If you had to,
and Heather,
pick
it
a
is
song.
the morning for Heather, isn't it? So
yeah,
I'm a morning person, so my energy is good in the mornings.
Good. If you had to pick a song to be the theme song for your life, which song would it be?
Yeah. So it is the song "Don't Stop" by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, good one.
First of all,
Fleetwood Mac.
We haven't had Fleetwood Mac, no.
Well, I think "Rumors" is one of the most brilliant albums. It's my Desert Island album, and that song. for me, it's the don't stop learning, don't stop, trying, don't stop moving, don't stop connecting, all the things. So I just like the positive looking forward rather than looking backwards.
That's
so
a great
don't
one.
stop.
That is a great one, isn't it?
That's brilliant. Amazing.
Yeah.
No, thank you again. This has been fascinating, and thank you
really,
for taking
really
the time out of your day to
Of
talk
course,
to us.
a privilege.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. I'm glad
honestly,
glad you enjoyed it.
Very
very
much.
thought-provoking. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time. Yeah, it's lovely to see you. So thank
Lovely
you.
to see you, and lovely to meet you, Ellie.
Yeah,
and
lovely to meet you too.
If there's anything else I can help with on your journey, you know how to reach me. I'm always happy to help. I think what you're doing is brilliant.
100%.
Thank
That's
you.
in the bag. So
You didn't realise what she's writing on that list. She's got you.
Heather
down for
knows the
all
years I've known her, I
sorts.
never ever let her go. So
Sorry, don't stop.
don't stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, that's
right.
great.
Enjoy the rest of your
Thank you everyone
afternoon.
for listening. Yeah, enjoy it.
Thank you,
Same
everyone.
to you
Yeah,
too.
see you soon.
Yeah, thanks to everyone
Bye.
for
Cheers.
listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.